to the Introduction to Touch Healing webinar. I am Girija Jayabal, founder of Back to Wellness. How are you feeling? Are you feeling awesome? Good. Are you feeling so? Great. Because no matter how you feel, after learning about touch healing, start to practice these techniques, you are going to feel wonderful. Um, I was I was feeling down like a few years back because life was like overwhelming. I cannot even manage taking care of the household or things like that. Um, I went to India on summer 2019. I met Vishwa over there and learned touch healing. Um, After practicing touch healing, and I'm able to, I have more energy. Now I'm able to manage our company, manage this wellness events and the household, everything really well. I still have more energy to do things. Um, so this is a really simple and effective technique. I want to bring all these healing techniques like Varma touch healing to here so more people can benefit and feel better. I'm honored to introduce my teacher, mentor, and good friend, Healer Vishwanath. Vishwa started practicing Kundalini Yoga at the age of 16 and learned more than 20 healing techniques, including Varma and touch healing. Close to a decade ago, when he was a vice president leading a successful IT company, Vishwa decided to quit his job and dedicate his life to healing and helping others. Ever since, he has been treating people in India and Sri Lanka and has conducted workshops on various healing techniques. As a spiritual practitioner and Kriya Yogi, he is assisting so many people in healing and spiritual progression. The webinar has two sections. In the first section, Vishwa will explain what is touch healing, how it will help everyone to feel better. In the second session, we are going to have answer all your questions. Please share your questions in the chat window to the host or co-host. And please, we will share a link where you can put your name and email ID and put in the message like touch healing webinar. We will send the self-healing handbook to the email ID you're registering in that link. Okay. Vishwa, could you please start?
Thank you, Girija. Warm greetings to everyone. Welcome to this wonderful introduction to a really fabulous therapy. Now, if you wonder really where life is, if you see, where can you point it out? Where can you point it out the location of which in the life is present on the physical body? Is it in the brain, or is it in the heart, or is it in the liver, or is it in the spleen? Where? You can't say, because it is a whole consciousness that encompasses. That is what we call as life. So this people call it as an aura, as an energy field or biomagnetic field or whatever it is. So this biomagnetic field, which is present around the physical body and interpenetrating the physical body is present, is a battery of life. Just like a battery is very helpful to power an electronic toy or a gadget or whatever it is. So this energy, this shell, this cocoon-shaped egg of life, which surrounds us and interpenetrates us, this has micro channels called as energy pathways through which energies travel. Now, wherever we go to any energy therapy, this will be the fundamental. Energy is traveling in nadis. In Tamil, it is called as nadis. The energy pathways, they are called as nadis. So energy travels in the channels, energy channels. When there is a when there is a block or impediment to the flow of energy in these channels, then there is a dis-ease condition. There is a pathological condition where you fall sick and you have so many complaints and ailments and pain and this and that. So you name it, that's there. So the purpose of not only touch healings, but any other energy therapy like Reiki or anything else, which targets to remove this energy block and the disturbance to the flow of energy, thereby restoring the energy to its normal flow and the normal track, thereby restoring health to the person. That is all. It is as simple as that. Touch healing is one such very simple method where after due diagnosis, what you do is you give treatments or healing sessions to the client. We don't call patients, we call them clients. So because it's a healing therapy, we only have clients, we don't have patients. Okay, we are not doctors, physicians. So the healing that is given to the person with gentle touch after due diagnosis is called as a touch healings. Now, what does a touch healing do? It basically is to, as I told you, to remove the energy blocks that are present in the energy pathways. See, take this analogy for those those of you who are not familiar with the flow of energy and the vital force. You can take this analogy. You have a physical body. Inside the physical body, there are various veins and arteries. Blood is flowing through them. So similar to that, there is an energy body around your physical body. Now there are micro channels, and inside the micro channels, energy circulation is happening. So when the energy circulation is in flow, then you're in the center of your being. You're fine. You're great. Everything best you can imagine. But when this flow is impeded, there is a problem, as we saw just now. So the work of touch therapy is to remove or mitigate these energy blocks. In other words, called as stagnated energies. Energies get stagnated in a particular place. You remove the stagnation, the energy flow begins to resume, and things become all right. We all know what a traffic jam is, but let me give you a typical example. Like I used to live and work in Nigeria. Nigeria is extremely horrible in traffics. In road traffic is really bad. After crossing 3-4 kilometers of traffic, when you see there, one single car would have been parked wrongly, and that would have been causing such a huge disturbance. So very similar to that, you have a number of energy points in your body, whether it is Varma points or acupuncture points or some other points, touch healing points. Those points, when the energy is going through those points, the energy flow gets impeded because there is a block. Something is wrong due to various reasons. Let's not worry about the reason right now. So for various reasons, it gets blocked and lands you up in the disease condition. So this stagnation, what you do, how to identify, how to remove the block is in one sentence called as touch healings. Now there are various energy therapies, like you can do the same in Reiki, you can do the same using Burma therapy. There are so many energy healing techniques that are available now today to mitigate these blocks that is there. Now, if you ask now, why these stagnations happen? We saw that when the energy flows very freely, there is no disease. The person is in good state of mind, spirit, and body. That is all there. But when there is a stagnation or when there is an impediment to the flow of energy, then it lands you into the disease condition. What causes it? See, one main cause. See, you can always have karma in the first place for those of you who believe and who don't believe. So karma is one of the reasons why diseases are caused. See, you are destined to suffer certain things, and you suffer. No matter what religion, law of karma is always spoken by almost all the religions that is there. So according to karma, whatever is there, you suffer diseases. That is one thing. Now, that is a spiritual part, and let us put it away. Let us put it away for some time. Let us consider the blocks that are the energy stagnations that happen due to the state of mind. Say, for instance, you happen to see an accident right in front of your eye. Now, what happens is your heart it goes like into a shock. Even see, if the accident is very severe and is very horrible, no matter whether it is 10 years or 20 years, you still remember. And when you recollect the event, you'll get that same expression in your heart, because that has set deeply inside your mind. That is otherwise called as a block. You get stuck up. You don't keep moving. You get stuck up. I get angry. That is a stagnation. I grieve a lot. That is a stagnation. I'm very adamant I don't give up in life. I have a stagnation. So all the state of minds especially cause a big stagnations in the body. So in other words, like mind hurts the body. Body does not essentially hurt the mind. Mind necessarily hurts the body. Now, what you do is you take a pin, you put a small hole, punch into your this thing. A small incision forms, and not an incision, it's a pinprick forms, and in 3-4 days that will heal. That is different. But when the same happens inside the mind, then it is very detrimental. When you get caught up in some sort of an attitude, or when you get caught in any of the state of minds which are, having a state of mind isn't wrong. See, getting angry is not wrong, but getting stuck up with anger, like getting habituated to anger and all those things, they are unwholesome. So they are not the recommended thing. So those major reasons cause the energy to stagnate and stop at a particular place or places, which the touch healing practitioner shall identify properly with the help of pulse diagnosis and various other diagnostic techniques, and they give you a treatment. Now, the roots of the touch therapy actually comes from the Varma therapy. See, there are about 400 Varma points. If you have attended my earlier Varma workshop with Back to Wellness, you would have known about Varma. So Varma therapy is another huge therapy that is the first thing to originate on Earth as the first healing therapy. Now, touch therapy has its root to Varma. So what they have done is Varma has around 400 energy points. Now, touch healing takes about 30 energy points from all of those 400 points, like taking potent points, potent stagnation points where energy can possibly stagnate, and they have given a set of treatment guidelines so that the treatment can happen. That's all. Now, when you say treatment, what is a treatment? Like if you go to an allopathy doctor, he gives you a shot, he gives you some tablets to consume, and all that. So what literally happens when you go to a Reiki healer? The Reiki healer does some movements of the hand. The person removes the energy, the person gives energy. So all those things happen. Now, when you ask this question, what typically happens when a touch healing session is given to someone? Now, the first thing is when you go the practitioner diagnosis. Diagnosis is based on so many factors which we can keep talking for hours together. I'll just try to put it very shortly. Now you look at your face, the complexion of the face, the comparison of the complexion and between the face and some other part of the body, the way your fingers are organized, the way your toes are organized, the way you stand, the words you use, whether you are sitting in a free position, are you tied up with your hands like this? So whatever pose it is, we diagnose based on that, and then we check your pulse. Now, see this. Those of you who are not familiar with alternative therapies, let me tell you this: this pulse diagnosis is not the one that is done by the typical allopathy modern medicine doctor. The modern medicine doctor, they hold your hands and they see and they tell you how many pulses per minute, whether it is 72 pulses per minute or 90 pulses per minute, 110 pulses per minute. So that is the one they see. But we, even acupuncture people would know what is pulse diagnosis. Even Varma practitioners know what is pulse diagnosis. It's a common thing in those therapies. So similar to that in touch healing, we check the pulses and we try to identify where the bottleneck is, where the energy is actually stagnated. Then we begin the treatment. Now, what does this treatment mean? Is it like any medicines intake or is it any like exercise sort of thing? Let me explain that to you. It's such a simple thing. There are no medicines involved. And once you identify the block, now you'll have a particular flow, something which is called as a sequence. What is a sequence? Now, the sequence is, let us assume that there is a problem with my liver. I have a fatty liver condition. My liver is very sluggish, or I have something wrong in my liver. All those things you have diagnosed and you have pinpointed the liver. Now, for the liver, you have sequences. The sequences it outlines first step, where my right hand has to be, where my left hand has to be. You hold them and you deep breathe, thereby forming a sort of jumper cabling between these 2 points. It's a sort of jumper cabling. So jumper cabling or short circuiting or connection, this is all we call. That's the right term to be used. So literally what you do is you connect both the points that you are touching and you do a sort of deep breathing, which will connect these 2 points and make the energy flow. That is, we will come in a few minutes on how the therapy actually works, the science of how the therapy works. Let me explain that to you in a little bit detail, a little bit later. So then step 2, the left hand goes somewhere, right hand goes somewhere. Step 3, right hand goes somewhere, left hand. So what you do is you employ very gentle touches accompanied with deep breathing so that you can facilitate the flow of energy. See, each healing art has its own way of passing energies. Now, Reiki has something, Parma has something, pranic healing has something, acupuncture has something. So similar to that, touch healing has this particular way of touching 2 or more points at a time and then treating the person. So these touch will be totally non-invasive, totally soft. See, as soft as you touch a baby's skin. It is as soft as you touch your baby's skin. So it's that easy. So it's nothing like a hard manipulation or any usage of any external needles or any devices, anything to stimulate. So we use hands to connect 2 points and to stimulate the flow of energy between these points or around the energy system, so to say. That is the thing. Okay. Now, how this you might ask? See, this is the question commonly coming from many people who have taken touch healing. Vishwa, we have taken touch healing from you. The results are really nice. We are very happy and impressed. But how does a gentle touch work? You don't manipulate anything like Burma manipulation. You don't use any devices. You don't use any stimulation techniques. It is simple touch. So how does it work? Now, this works on the concept of polarity. Now, the left side of your body is of a particular polarity. The right side of your body is of a particular polarity. Now, what happens is this can be compared to the positive and negative polarity in a battery, in an energy battery, in a cell. So this is the positive end. This is the negative end. So if you connect this to a particular thing, what happens? If you connect this to another battery and another battery, so how you should go with the wiring and all those things, physics very clearly mentions to go with the polarity. Now, what we do is your negative hand, your negative hand, which is your negative polarity hand, is your left side, and your positive polarity hand is your right side. So what we do is when we touch a particular point with the left hand, it has one particular impact. If you touch the same point with your right hand, it has another sort of impact. One has a pushing effect, the other has a pulling effect. So what you do is you push the energy from one point and you receive it at another point. So the energy keeps going in a circulation, right? Say, for instance, now I keep my hands between these 2 points. For instance, these 2 points. Now what happens is the energy is pulled down from one point, goes through its circuit, its assigned path, comes to this point, passes through this point, and then continues its journey to continue the cycle again and again. That is the simple method of how we do the healing in touch healing. Remember, very great things are really simple in life. If you believe in God, for those who don't believe in God, I can't say this example, but those who believe in God, God is omnipresent. God is here at this moment with you, with me. It is so subtle, but yet it cannot be felt. So it is similar to that. All great things are really simple and they are present right before your eyes. Only thing is you need the eye to see them. That is all. So things are present and things are very real. So this very soft touch produces so much of sensation. Sometimes it triggers mental emotions. It brings up pent up feelings. Sometimes a sort of dizziness sets in. So it will not be unbearable. You must know that these are not unbearable. You'll get a slight sensation, tingling sensation sometimes, all those things. So when these touches are made, see, there is a prescribed way of touching the points. Now, this point with the left finger, this point with the right finger. Then the next step is this point with the left finger, this point with the right finger. So that is how the sequence goes. It is as simple as that. You just look at the manual. Once you have done a diagnosis on how to do the treatment and what treatment to do, what healing steps to do, you follow that particular sequence. So what is the first step to do? What is the second step to do? What is the third step to do? You follow line by line. Just read through, go by whatever the manual says, and there you go by. That is a treatment. So there are various complexities of how you keep the hand and what needs to be done internally. That's a different thing. That is for a healing practitioner to be carried out. But for the client, it is a very pleasant experience. Many people fall asleep very easily. Many people have a very relaxed feeling. Sometimes as I told you, the pent-up emotions might come out. Sometimes you may feel physical pain, like cramps and burning sensation, but they will not be like unbearable. They'll be like present briefly, and then they'll fade away as the energy moves. That is there. This reminds me of some treatment session which I've given before. I was treating an elderly gentleman. So he's like 70 years old. I was sitting nearby his legs and touching certain points in his leg. This man suddenly wakes up and looks at me, stares at me, looks at his leg, and then lies down. He does this for 3-4 times. I was wondering, what is he doing? What is happening? I know it is doing some reaction, having some reaction inside the body, but I'm not sure what it was, because you can't say what exactly one would be feeling, and it is not the same reaction for everybody. Everybody has a different experience. That is it. Then suddenly he calls his wife and says, "You please come here. Look at what Mr. Vishwa is doing." Oh my God, why he's doing a treatment for you? No, he's doing something else. No, why are you saying this? Now the man was saying, the gentleman was saying, now it seems like Vishwa has taken a red hot iron and putting it in my leg wherever he's touching. So that was the sensation was. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. This was true. So that person after that session experienced a very great degree of healing, and he was healed of so many problems. And it is not necessary that you should experience all these indications. That is a different thing. But somebody had this. So even a very light touch and a proper way of treating will bring about such a great result. That is there. Now, when you ask about what are the benefits of doing a touch healing session is, now it harmonizes the energy system without any side effects. Now, I need to compare certain therapies. Don't mistake me. I'm not degrading them. I'm not saying less of them, but I'm just comparing them. Now, when you consider a Reiki healing, if you have a problem with a particular spot of the body, particular point of the body, you can energize the point or you can de-energize. Now, in therapies like pranic healing, Reiki, there is a problem of over-energizing. There is a problem of under-energizing. Now, in touch therapy, there is no concept of over-energizing and under-energizing. It brings you back, brings you to the optimal level of energy, and it brings you to the optimal level of vibration. This is one of the very, very salient features of this therapy. There is nothing like you should do this only for, there is no hard and fast rule saying that you should do it only for 8 minutes. If you go more than 8 minutes, definitely something will go wrong. It's nothing like that. If you do less than 8 minutes, something will go wrong. No, nothing like that. So the longer you do the treatment, because we are doing this therapy without any medicines or any other external aids or anything else. So it needs a bit of time. So if you are able to focus on the points, the therapist especially, so the energy moves properly and brings about a grand healing effect that is there. This can be used as a standalone therapy as well as an adjuvant to various other therapies. Now, I have combined touch healing with Varma because I'm proficient with both, of whatever I've learned. I've used it with various other therapies, like somebody was taking homeopathy medicine system. So we gave them touch therapy. They were taking their medicines. See, touch healing does not ask you to stop any medications. You continue with whether it is homeopathy or allopathy or some other physiotherapy or physiatry or whatever it is, doesn't matter. So you continue with your existing medications, and what we do is, as therapists, we identify your energy blocks, and then we begin to give you the treatment sessions. That is all. So this does not react or counteract with the other form of healings, whether it is a physical healing or whether it is an energy healing or healing with medicines or whatever it is. That is a thing. And the another very good point of a very good salient feature of this touch therapy is it brings you back to the center of your being so that you can see things unbiased. Now, we are always prejudiced. If you observe properly, many of us, I'm not saying all of us are, I'm not being judgmental, but I'm saying many of us are prejudiced, many times judgmental. Oh, look at him. He might be this. Oh, look at this. It must be like that. No, why do we jump into conclusions and judgments without getting proper data? This is not our job to judge anybody. So what we do is we can, the best thing to do is we can keep an open mind. We can observe what the person says and we can observe what is the situation. Then we can come to a conclusion whether this person is worth or not, or is it worth doing further investigations on the person to find out who the person really is. So that way. So this lets you see things as they are. Sometimes you might be prejudiced, like you actually wanted to leave the job, but you'll be in an insecure feeling. Like I'm giving an example, an analogy here. So you might want to actually leave the job, but subconsciously you want to leave the job, but consciously you'll be insecure, having an insecurity feeling about your job, your salary, your next placement, and all those things. But if you leave your job, definitely you're going to go into a better prospect. Your state of mind is going to be really good. You're going to be happy. You're going to feel really gifted for whatever it is. So what we do is we are not able to see the actual thing. We get biased. So doing a touch therapy aligns you in such a way that you can see things unbiased. Unbiased in the sense you can see things for what they are, what really they are. That is a one very important point of this therapy. It brings you back to the center. No matter what treatment you take, it will automatically align you to the center of your being and with the universal energy so that you can see things as they are. That is something. Then automatically when you align yourself and when you see things as they are, what happens naturally? The decisions which you take are really good. They will be to the point and they will be very rewarding to you. So it lets you take a decision of your own. See, you and you alone you will know what is the best for you. See, you may take suggestions from your friends, your relatives, your well-wishers, and all your nears and dears. That is there. But eventually, you take all their counsel and you decide for yourself what is better for you, what is the best for you. So this aligns you in such a way so that the decisions you take, the views you see are unbiased, and the decisions you take are really good. And you yourself will be in time amazed at how effective you are in handling situations and all those things. That is. And this increases the awareness of what is going inside. Now, for example, this is sort of a correction. This is sort of lets you do an introspection and a retrospection. Takes you lets you take a stock on where you stand actually. Now, say for instance, I've been unfair to my partner. Let's say, for example, I have a partner and I'm unfair to my partner. So in that case, what happens is I'm unaware of that. My partner is screaming to me. My partner is crying and telling me. My partner is requesting me. The partner is shouting at me, but I don't listen to my partner. So what I'm happening is I'm literally deaf. I'm literally blind with whatever is happening around me. Now, what happens is when you get aligned to yourself, when you come to the center of yourself, what happens is it lets you be aware of what is happening around so that you can correct your faults yourself. See, rather than somebody having to poke you for something wrong, for some misawareness, you yourself will be prompted to be aware of whatever is happening around you and make things better for your things that is there. Okay, now let me give you one beautiful feature. This is yet another beautiful feature of this wonderful therapy. See, now this will let you handle the problems in a very different way. What is a very different way? Is it going to give you a solution? Nobody can give you a solution to your own problems. You'll have to carry your problems, but the way in which you react to the problem definitely changes. Let me give you an example. Let us say this is you and these are your problems. Or let us say these are your problems and this is you. Now, at this moment, you and your problem are one and intermingled, commingled, everything. Whatever you say is like this. Now, in this condition, your state of mind will be really bad. Your decisions will be really bad. They won't be apt, or at least they won't be to the best of to whatever you're going to do in the future. That is it. Now, if you align yourself to the center by coming to the realms of touch healing, when you align yourself, what happens is now you and the problems you separate. Means the problem will be with you. The problem will not be engulfing you. Can you see the difference? See, there is a huge difference between being inside the bubble and being besides the bubble. The bubble is your problem. Now, if you are inside the problem, your vision is muddy. You won't be able to see through clearly. You won't be able to take proper decisions and everything. But once you step out of that bubble, that is, you're not inside the bubble, you're besides the bubble. When that happens, automatically your vision is better, your decisions are better, the way you see things are really good. So your problem solving capabilities improve, and so many other things happen. So it will change. It will not give you a solution to a problem. Be aware of this. But it will give you a calm state of mind so that you can take the best decision and you can resolve the problem. See, when you have a problem, it may be a health issue, it may be a problem with the family or with the friends or with the near and dears, it may be anything. You can do two things. One is you can follow a don't care attitude. You can simply don't worry about whatever the problem is, you can keep going. Number two approach, the second approach is you can keep worrying about the problem all the time, destroy your peace of mind, and you can become a real, depressed person in your life. So this therapy, this healing technique, touch healing technique will put you back to the center so that you follow the first method of handling problems. That is, it is not that you don't care about the problem, but you're not worried too much about the problem. See, in spiritual science, they say, what do you call it? Not getting addicted to anything. That is, you own a lot of things, but nothing owns you. That is a spiritual concept. So this is the case. You have worries. Worries do not own you. Worries do not dictate you. Worries do not take a toll on you. If you understand what I'm trying to say. So it is like your problems will be there, but the ability to handle the problem, the way in which you react to the problem, so that you can face the problem and successfully deal with it, the chances improve very much. So that is such a great thing about this therapy. So all these things come without an effort. Like there is no mental programming or anything required. Like say for instance, let us say I'm a really fearful person, say for example, or I have a particular nasty habit of clinging to a particular thought, and I'm not able to let go of those thoughts. So what I can do is when I do the therapy, see, one way is there are suggestive therapies. Like I can sit in a calm, quiet place in a meditative posture. I can say, I will not do this again. I will not do this again. I will not do. You can keep repeating it. If the message reaches the subconscious mind, if the message reaches the subconscious mind, maybe you will calm down a bit. But here, this does not require any of those efforts. If you undergo the right therapy, if the person gives you the healer gives you the right therapy, automatically your fear will go. See, let me tell you, like how we saw in the beginning of this session, there is flow of subtle energy, vital energy. When the flow of energy is blocked, there is a disease, there is a problem in your health condition. Now, when that block is mitigated, automatically the disease goes away. So, if you say anger is a problem, if you remove the energy blocks that are the prime reason for the anger, automatically anger goes away. So, does it mean that I will not get anger ever in my life? We don't say so. You won't be addicted to anger. You will feel angry when it is necessary, where it is necessary, where it is apt, not unnecessarily. There are some people who are really short-tempered. They lose their cool for every now and then. So those people, when the blocks are removed, they will get angry only for situations which are which deserve to get angry. So that is one vital thing of this therapy. And what we don't do here in touch healing is we don't give a label. Now, many say disease names in a very like ABCD in reverse. It'll be like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So there are so many disease names which you can't even pronounce properly. Now, the good thing about this therapy is we don't give any names for the diseases. Like this is called as a multiple cirrhosis of the liver. This is called as meningitis. This is called as a myocardial infarction. We don't give any labels at all. What we do is we diagnose the person, we identify where the energy flow is blocked, and we do the sequences so that the energy flow block is mitigated and the energy begins its regular flow, and so thereby reinstating good health to the person. That is what we do. So we don't give a label. So there are like more than 7-8 ways of diagnosing a particular condition. So there is see, many therapies have one shot of identifying. For example, you go for an MRI scan to identify that. That is one fixed way. You can identify only with an MRI scan. You go for a blood test report. So that is the only way you can find out whether there is a particular problem pertinent to your disease condition or not. Now here, touch healing gives you a wide range of diagnosing methods. Like as I told you, you can look at the face and you can pronounce somebody's disease. See, we are not there to say what a person is suffering from, but yet to a good extent, you can look at the face and say this person is suffering from so and so disorder. Maybe that is in the mind, maybe that is in the body, or anything like that. So you'll be able to diagnose those. So what we are saying is there is a variety of approach in touch healing therapy that you can follow in order to nail down a disease. Now, let me give you this analogy. There is a person. The person can be seen as the father of somebody. The person can be seen as the wife of somebody. The same person can be seen as the boss of somebody. The same person can be seen as the disciple of somebody. This is the same person, but he's playing various roles. So touch healing gives you a different arena of approach, so that whatever approach is convenient for the healer, for the practitioner, he can follow, and the person can be treated very effectively, thereby bringing about a very great healing effect. That is it. Let me put it in this way. If you just touch any 2 points, the energy begins to flow. That is the beauty of this therapy. In Burma, as I told you before, there are various techniques. There are 53 distinct methods of manipulating a single Burma point. That is there. But in touch healing, you touch the points very gently. The moment you touch 2 points, automatically what happens? The energy begins to flow. Because of the, as I told you, the polarity mechanism. The left hand has a polarity, the right hand has a polarity. So that is how things work. See, compare this with the, let me give you a real-time example. Like a man is attracted to a woman is attracted to the man. So the man is of a particular polarity. The women, the female is of a different polarity. When they are of the same polarity, you don't get attracted. It's like poles repel, like in magnetism. Opposite poles attract. So similar to that, with your left hand, if you touch a particular point, that does something inside energetically. When you touch a particular point with your right hand, then something energetically happens, and you bring about a healing technique. That is it. So this has given a cure to many of the the so-called untreatable diseases. So as I told you some time back, there is no labeling in this healing method. Like we don't give a label to we don't call it as a cancer. We don't call it as a, see, let me tell you, in the very beginning stages of me learning this touch healing technique, like it's like 12 years back almost, we treated a young girl for cancer, for breast cancer. It was like a stage 2 or 3 cancer. A father believes, says, we can try this therapy out, and he calls me, and it's like, it's in a very bad shape, very bad condition, in a literally bad shape. All they are going to do is they're going to ampute the breast, and that is what is going to happen. He said, see, I don't know what to do. See, because I was a beginner at that stage. So I said, let us give it a try. If it fails, don't think bad of me. No, you please give your sincere try. Let us see what happens. Then we tried along with other therapies as adjuvants like Nature Cure, lot of juice fasting, lot of pranayamas, lot of yoga asanas, and so many things went in. And in 4 months' time, the girl was totally out of cancer. You won't believe this happened for real. For confidentiality reasons, I can't give you the name, the contact details of the client, but this happened in my life. This gave me a real big boost. Oh my God, this is possible. I'm not saying touch healing alone was the reason for the cancer to get cured, but the so-called cancer, it went away with the help of touch healing, along with adjuvant therapies like magnetotherapy, crystal healing, and so many other things. They followed a lot of things. So it was an adjuvant to whatever they did. So this is something there, something notable. And this therapy is not a placebo or a faith-based therapy. Now they say, what is, I think most of you will know what is a placebo therapy. Placebo therapy is, what they do is they take sugar pills, mere sugar pills, and they say, see, this is given to me by a great sage. He derived this wonderful medicine after 12 long years of meditation. So he gave it to me. If you swallow it at Wednesday, 12 o'clock, Wednesday at 12 o'clock, 5 minutes, exactly when you put it, pop it up, automatically all your diseases go. Then you believe that, oh, this is a magic pill, it is going to heal me. And that is called as a therapy based on a thing based on a faith. That is called as a placebo therapy. This is not a placebo therapy. You can take it as a challenge. You can do this. I've seen many people take that. They say, Vishwa, whatever you're saying is right. But we do not get still haven't got a faith in this therapy, but I'm ready to try, because all the medical doctors, all the doctors whom I consulted, they are not ready to give me a solution. So can we try? But I'm ready to try this. So they have tried, and many of them have succeeded in curing their diseases very fantastically. That has happened. That is it. So what we are trying to say here is you don't need to have a faith or belief. Only if I believe it will work. It is not like that. But at the same time, better saying this, if you are averted to this therapy, then better don't take this therapy. Now, if you feel that we have seen cases like that. Now, mom wants to give therapy to the daughter doesn't want to take the therapy, so she continuously gives thoughts like this therapy will not work, and nothing is going to work. I identified that and I let go of that. So if you are reluctant to do that, is a different. But you don't have to believe in this therapy. You can take it as a challenge. You can take it on a trial basis. You can say, okay, Vishwa, what are you saying? You want me to try this therapy for 2 months? Yes, come on, let us try. Give it a try. You can do it on a trial basis, and definitely it is going to give you a fantastic thing to see through. The other salient feature, we have been seeing a lot of salient features. This is one another salient feature. See, even if it is not able to cure a disease, cure an ailment, it may be the very last stage of a person that the person may live only for a very short time. Please, people, I'd like to say something here. These healing techniques, these therapies, these are here to give a quality of life, like for you to live like a king and die like a king. So with if you are living like a beggar and dying like a beggar, life is not worth it. Many of us unfortunately do that. If you understand what is the real meaning of beggar is not literally going and begging, but you live like a beggar. So doing a therapy or following a therapy, any energy therapy or anything for that matter, is to give you a quality of life, to make you live like a king and to die like a king. That is it. So let us assume that you you have learned touch therapy and you have come across somebody who has a very terminal illness, and the person is obviously going to die, but the person is in very bad pains, like very severe pains, and you can do all that is possible to reduce the pain of the person. You can ease the pain so that the person can be peaceful for the rest of the days. That is always there. See, this is a very safe therapy. This will not cause any side effects. There are no side effects. Even if it says you touch point A with your left hand and you touch point B with your right hand. That is what we say. But if you interchange the fingers, is it going to hurt me? It is not going to hurt me. Just that nothing will happen and it will be a sheer waste of it. That's all. So that is one great feature of this therapy. You can even lie down. You can ask a small 5-6-year-old kid to touch 2 points and it still works. So it works with the biomagnetism and the other things with the polarity mechanism, as I told you. That is it. So even if it is not able to cure a particular ailment, it may give you a fantastic relief, so that the person may not need not have to suffer a lot. That is there. Then these days there is a lot of spiritual awareness going on with chakras and pranayama, meditation, and so many other things like cleansing yourself mentally, emotional rebirthing. All those things are there. Now, when you have spiritual, when you are into spiritual practice, you land up in a different sort of way. You land up into an array of diseases if you do serious spiritual practice and your body is unable to withstand the downpour of spiritual energies. Somebody who has done serious spiritual practice will know what I'm trying to say. It is a real hell of a task, and it's something. While doing an introduction to in saying about me, Girija said that since 15, 16 years of mine, I've been doing spiritual practice. I was a small boy. My body was not ready for such a higher spiritual practice, yet I was initiated into that spiritual practice. So doing that landed me into a very bad headache condition for a very long time. It is like 20, 25 years I suffered a very bad headache. Then after this therapy came in, I started treating myself, all those headaches vanished. It is almost 30 years, I should say, honestly saying. 30 years I suffered from headache. No therapy, no other medication, nothing was working for me. No other therapy was working for me. Then tried on touch healing and Barmam, and they helped me a big time. And here I am talking to you. That is it. So, so what happens is your system is unable to accommodate to the expansion that is happening spiritually. So you land up into headaches, you land up into frustration. So many inner purification happens. So it lets you deal with your spiritual self so that you can become aligned and you can become a better person. That is what is always there. Okay. So you can. So what happens is the proper diagnosis have to be done for this therapy to find out what needs to be done. So once you identify what needs to be done, if you follow the sequences that are supposed to relieve that particular block, then automatically there is no place for the ailment. That is all. So you can very effectively do that treatment. There is no problem. It's so simple that the simplicity is really, it is like very short. It's like very small, like 30 points, just 30 points, and you can play around with it just with your hands without causing any unpleasant side effects. You can experiment on yourself. You can experiment on your nearest dears, your husband, your wife, your children. It really works. It's fantastic. That is it. Now, sometime back we were discussing on what happens during a touch healing session. We saw that the practitioner, actually the healer, diagnoses your condition and makes you lie down or sit on a chair, and they touch various points in various combinations according to the sequence which is required to heal you. And what they do is, this is one part of the therapy. The other part of the therapy is like removing the knots which are present in your neck and shoulders. The shoulders, it becomes really hard. Now, actually, the touch healing encompasses three different legs. Now, first leg is touching the energy points and providing a treatment, bringing about a healing. The second thing is easing the shoulder. Easing the shoulder is a huge dam. When the shoulder is dammed up, so many diseases come up. Now, you see people who are working in the IT field, like hunched up, shoulders are not proper, they are not relaxed, they are not hanging down. So in such cases, shoulder really causes a big block of energy from flowing into their head and brain area. Now, this is one condition. The other condition is the muscles in your neck and back of the neck area. What happens is they harden, they land up into knotted conditions. That is there. So in such a case, energy flowing throughout the body, actually it goes up, it keeps going in a circle. It goes up and comes down, goes up and comes down, like that. Now, when there is a block over here, let us say the muscles are knotted, or the nerves are knotted, or the shoulder is very hard, or something like that, it definitely impedes the flow of energy. Definitely the person will be landing up into so much of headaches, untold headaches. You'll be going into MRI scan and CT scan and every blood test that is possible. They won't diagnose what it is. It might be caused very well and mostly due to the tension in the shoulder and the neck. So, sorry. So what we do is we apply a mild lubricant like coconut oil or a medicated oil, and we try to stroke your neck and shoulder area to remove the knots that are present. So this is a sort of a mild stroking procedure which is done in order to relieve the neck and shoulder area, thereby facilitating easier flow of energy into the into the system. That is there. Now another part. Now we saw two. We said there are three legs. First one is the therapy that is given by touching. Second one is what do you call removing the knots in the neck and softening the shoulder. Number three is called as trampling the thighs. Now, I am very sure, almost sure that every one of you know what is reflexology. Now, reflexology are the energy points that are present in acupressure, which are present at the sole of your feet and the palms of your hands. Now, this part is for heart, this part is for lung, this is for eye, this is for sinusitis. So there are so many points mapped in your palm or in the sole of your feet to the various parts of the body. Similar to that, the parts inside your body are mapped to the thigh. Can you believe this? No other therapy has this technique. They're called as trampling technique. So what we do is we go on a mild kneading. So we make the client lie down. Then we with our feet, what we do is we go gently trampling the thigh on various parts. Now, just like the reflexology mapping, there is a mapping of your internal organs to your thigh. So where the trampling is done, if the pain present or not, or what is the degree of pain, you can assess what is the state of the internal organ. This is something fabulous. No other therapy offers. This is a unique thing that is present in touch healing. That is that. So many diseases related to the stomach and lower abdomen and the chest have come down to a substantial degree, like like irregular periods, constant white discharge, and prostatitis in men. Uh, so many of the problems like having a varicose vein, so many things. I know a person has been completely relieved of her stomach conditions like indigestion, acid reflux, and something like irritable bowel syndrome. They have been very easily. See, we have been given touch healing. That is a different. But apart from that, we have been doing the neck and shoulder release plus the thigh trampling. So we have been doing that, and thigh trampling is one of the miraculous things. Initially, it will be a little bit painful. It is a sort of a manipulative procedure. See, we don't employ brutal force. Please don't mistake that. It's not a brutal force. It's a metered pressure that is given on the thighs, so that the energy that are being accumulated and stopped there at the thigh area, they can be released, and the energy flow can be facilitated. That is there. So this is very similar to your reflexology. That is there. So as I told you, this therapy has been used as an adjuvant, and many times I've used it as a standalone therapy. Like, see, I'm not a qualified doctor. So as a qualified doctor, I'm not entitled for any prescribing any medicines. It is very illegal of me to do so. So what I do is, people say, Vishwa, I'm not going for any other therapies. I've gone for enough therapies. I'm done. So can you treat me with your touch therapy? So I went for them. Many of them got cured. But in some other cases, what happens is they might also need medicine, internal medication. So what I do is I ask them to go consult a doctor of their choice, like whether it is in Siddha or Ayurveda or acupuncture or some other system, maybe allopathy too. That is there. So sometimes it has been used as an adjuvant therapy, and some other cases it has worked by itself. So many times in headaches, it has been working. Now sometimes it is like this. It is being able to give a healing of like 80 to 90%. Then after that, the remaining 10-20% will be healed only with a particular medicine intake, like say for an Ayurvedic medicine or a Siddha medicine. So that could be required. So we don't know that. So in general, the therapy done with the touching the energy points of the body, relieving the neck and the shoulder, trampling on the trampling on the thigh by itself will relieve a lot of pain. But many times, as you say, they may also require, like we always give a statutory warning. This cannot be used as a standalone therapy. So please consult a proper medical practitioner or your health guide. So that is what we usually say. That is, see, we are not there to stop anybody's existing medicines or existing therapies. Whatever the person takes should be continued to be taken. That is that. We give this therapy as an adjuvant to whatever they are taking in order to bring about its effect. That is that. Okay. Now, when you consider touch therapy, it is done in two parts. What are the two parts? Now, I told you three legs of the touch therapy, they are different. Now, the touch therapy session by itself is done in two parts. One is the touch therapy, the healing session given by the touch healer to the client. So the client may spend anywhere between 45 minutes to 1 hour, 1.5 hours, depending upon the course of treatment that is being, course of healing that is being given to the client. So after that, the client goes home. Now at home, the client does a set of self-exercise, self-healing exercises. Self-healing exercises should not scare you. This is just a simple term, self-healing exercise. Know those exercise, you should know they are simple touching of 2 points at a time and gentle deep breathing. That's all. So you touch 2 points at a time. You might have seen advertised in the page for Back to Wellness and my Facebook page. You will receive a free self-healing exercise book. So it's a 12-page book. You can receive this PDF. As Girija told, if you leave your email ID, we'll be able to mail you that thing. So what the client goes is, the client goes home and at their own expense, their own comfortable time, comfortable place, and comfortable situation, they do the self-healing exercises. Self-healing exercises are holding mudras like this. Now, this is one particular mudra which balances all the 5 elements of the body. This is one thing. You'll be finding them in your this thing. This by itself is one mudra. This will facilitate a particular set of energy. This is another mudra that facilitates. So this is a sort of self-healing exercises that are given. So putting it in simple words, there is a mountain and we want to dig a tunnel underneath. So rather than digging a tunnel from one side, either from this side or that side, you do a tunneling from both the sides. So what you do is, the touch healer does the therapy and starts the tunneling at one side. The other side, what happens is the client at home does their self-healing, and both together work to a better healing at a shorter period of time and at a greater rate, and considerable results will be seen in a very shorter period of time comparatively. That is something. So this is the second part. Now we always say this. If the practitioner does, that is, if the touch healer does the therapy, the client goes home and does a self-healing exercise, very good. You'll be seeing really great results in a short time. That is that. Now, the client is not able to find a appropriate healer. But the client is inclined to do a self-healing exercise. So yes, very good. That also works. So many people, I know a typical case. Let me come to that example in a short while. So that is good. But when the practitioner does, and when the client does not do self-healing exercises at home, then definitely the therapy is not going to work. What happens is, now your energy level is like in a particular state. Now, when the healing is given by the healing practitioner, the energy level raises. Now, the client, when he is doing the self-healing exercises at home, maintains the energy, his own energy or her own energy at this level. If it is not done at home, the energy will come back to its original place. Then the healer does, it comes back, then it goes down. Doesn't produce any healing effect. So the client, by doing self-exercises at home, automatically what happens is they keep the energy levels at optimal levels, and they work on their own way, little way to keep the energy going and mitigate the energy blocks. Telling you an example, that was a case like once an old lady comes to me, like a 74, 75-year-old. Actually, I was about to move out from the city. I used to go to the city. I used to treat a set of people over there, then come back. Then what happens is, at the last day of my leaving, like I was about to leave the next day, she comes in and says, Vishwa, check my pulses, diagnose me. What is my problem? I have this problem. You diagnose me. What is wrong and what could be done? I'm telling her, see, I'm leaving the city tomorrow. There is no time at all. What do you intend to do? She was saying, I know that, Vishwa, you're traveling tomorrow. What you can do is, people are saying so high about your self-exercises booklet. So let me go through that. You please teach me that. I was like sort of taken back, and I teach this lady. Then I leave the city and come out. 6 months, the lady does not call me. I thought she will call me for a doubt or anything. Actually, she was suffering from Parkinson's disease, for you to know. There is a severe shaking of the head. There is a severe trembling of the hand and trembling of the voice and so many other things. For 6 months, absolutely, that lady doesn't keep in touch. I thought, okay, people have lost interest as usual, and they went off. Then when I go back to the city for treating again, this lady asks for an appointment to meet me. I say, I hear this person's name, and so no appointment for so and so. She didn't even contact me. Then the lady who was organizing said, no, Vishwa, you're mistaken. You should meet that lady. I meet that lady, that 74-year-old lady was looking like a 55 to 60-year-old lady. And like 80% of her problems have come down. Her doctor was really shocked to the core. Oh my God, what did you do? I did my self healing exercises, Vishwa, at home. Whatever is instructed in your manual, I did everything. I did. See, actually, the prescribed time is like 1 hour or something like that. That is a recommended time. But I did each day. I spent like 2 to 3 hours a day. I really did my self healing exercises, and they were really fantastic. I did my mudras and everything. Everything came perfect. And see where I am. Like Parkinson's has come down by 80-90%. The hands have stopped trembling. The voice has started, the shivering has stopped. Only the head was a little bit shaky, and then and there it wasn't. I was really surprised. See, I know the therapy works, that is that. But self-healing alone, when it is done in a proper way, it could bring this much of results as something noteworthy to say in this case. That is also there. So see, this is one of the salient features of this therapy. See, when you go for it, see, please, again, I'm saying I'm not here to demean or say less of any therapy. I'm just saying the pros and cons that are present in certain therapies. Now, when you go to, let us say, a particular system of medicine, you take the medicine. Let us assume that when you take the medicine, after 15 days or 20 days, you get better. But when the effect of the medicine comes down, then the ailment may come back. Then you may have to repeat the medicine. That is there. So even in acupuncture, you go for a high blood pressure, they needle a point, and within a couple of minutes, the blood pressure comes back to normal, drops back to normal, everything is good. See, absence of symptom does not mean absence of a disease. That is a different thing. But here, it has at least helped you to reduce the symptom of the disease. That is that. But again, the client has to come back to the practitioner when the pressure goes up high. You understand what I mean? Where we are arriving at. But in touch healing, what happens is the practitioner gives you a healing session for twice or thrice a week. Then all the 5, 6 days, 7 days a week, what you do is you do your self-healing exercises, you do your mudras and everything. Now, what happens is the healing keeps going up and up and up, and it keeps tonifying your system. It enhances your energies. It brings about a dramatic healing by facilitating a free flow of energy around your system. Everything happens. So this is unlike any other therapy which has a self-healing exercise to be done at a client's convenience in their own places. That is there. So this is one of the reasons where we treat the person for a limited period of time, say for example 15, 20 days, or maybe 1.5 months, depending on the nature of the disease, maybe sometimes 3, 4 months. We treat the person. Then what we do is, once we find out that the person's energy has substantially moved, then what we do is we ask the person to continue the self-healing exercises at home for the next 1 or 2 years. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost a penny. You can keep doing it. So no problem. So once they do it for 1 or 2 years, the healing permanently seals and settles, and the person becomes permanently well. That is that. So there is very, very less possibility for the person to revive. That is that. See, there had been cases where we have treated people for very real bad diseases, and once they reach a particular stage, we recommend them to do self-healing at home. They simply say, yes, Vishwa, we will do, and then they go away simply without doing any self exercises. After 3, 4 months, slowly the disease comes back. So then I call them and I tell them, see, this is not the right way. Please do your self healing. This is the best thing to do. And then many times we have done the healing again. Then we have brought them to a substantial level, and then they continued their self healing, and then they got better. So those things have happened. That's it. Okay. So this is about the so small introduction to the touch healing sessions. So what the therapy does and what it can do. So it really deals with a lot of attitudes. You're stuck up with an attitude. It really helps you. Like you don't know how to make decisions. It helps you. So there are so many things about this therapy. So let us put a break over here so that we can move on to the second part of this webinar. We can go on to the Q&A session. Before that, I'd like to thank Lord God for giving me a chance to learn this fantastic therapy and to be a divine channel to help a lot of people, to touch a lot of people positively in their life, so that I can be of help to somebody. See, it is really godly to be of help to somebody. It is really by itself a blessing. Only those who have done been of service to somebody will realize the potential of that. So I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful to all my spiritual teachers and my gurus who have been with me to patiently be with me to advocate this therapy, to bring this therapy to what it is today in a very simplified and very potent form. That is always there. I would like to thank Mrs. Girija for providing me this opportunity. Thank you, Girija, for this wonderful opportunity to talk to all of you, and thank you, audience, for being very patiently listening to my discourse on the fantastic touch healing therapy that is there. So we'll put a pause over here. Girija, we can take questions and we can answer them.
Thanks, Sesha, Vishwa, for a wonderful session. Does it cause any side effects? Is there a possibility that the healer may go wrong?
Let us assume I do not have any knowledge in touch therapy. But what I do is I just go and put my hands into 2 points, any 2 points of the body. There are like 30 points. So you touch any 2 points of the body. What happens is energy begins to flow. That's all. So you can't harm somebody with this therapy. That's a very, very beautiful feature. So, instead of doing A, I did B, and the person got a serious ailment. There is no such case like that. It cannot happen. So there are absolutely no side effects with touch healing. You can, it's 101% safe. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there a possibility of energy contamination for a touch healer like other energy healings, for example, Reiki?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. See, this is something really noteworthy. I actually missed saying that point. Nice, it came as a question. See, there is something called as an energetic contamination. For those who are not familiar with energies, let me give you this analogy. When you look at somebody, the person will be really good looking. Externally, they'll be really good looking. They'll be really well spoken, well carried, but still you won't have a good feeling about that person. Have you ever thought why? Because subconsciously your mind is sensing the inner part of the person. Oh, the person is negative, I just should keep away from that person. That is a case. So what happens is you are unconsciously sensing the energy field of that particular person. That is it. So when you do a Reiki healing, they say that healers will pranic healing or whatever it is, they ask the healers to wash their hands in salt water with soap and to energetically disconnect from them. Now in touch healing, you don't give energy, you don't take energy. Like I'll give you a small analogy. Now let us say I'm the healer. I have a very bad, horrible ailment. Like let us say I have a cancer sort of an ailment. Now you come to me for healing. I touch and give you healing. Your problem will not come to me. My problem will not come to you. Now please note here, I'm not talking about a contagious disease like corona. See, if I have corona, definitely my breathing will affect you. You'll get corona. I don't mean in that way. Now, say for instance, a person, when you treat a person having cancer, you won't be energetically affected by that person's energies. That is what I mean. Your energies won't be affecting them. Your energies won't be affecting them. You will be using your hands to bring about a healing in their own system using their own energy, as simple as that. So there is no energetic contamination. You ask a Reiki healer, you ask a pranic healer, how many people you treat per day? They will say 3 people, 4 people, maximum 5, 6. If they go beyond 5, 6, they'll get depleted of energy. I have treated up to 12 clients per day without getting tired. Without getting tired says I don't get energetically drained. Only thing is my back hurts. That's all. I sit and treat for 12 hours. Of course, sitting for such a long time definitely hurts. And you put your hands in very odd positions and touch points of various points of the clients. So definitely your back hurts. That is the only thing. Otherwise, there is absolutely no reason for an energetic contamination. It's really safe.
Thank you. Does the nature of the healing depend upon the energy of the practitioner?
See, sometime back when we were explaining about touch healing, we said that even you can lie down and you can ask a small 5, 6 year old kid to touch 2 points of your body to bring about healing. That is there. Now, when you touch the right points with the right hand, by itself, I mean, I didn't mean the right hand. You touch the right points with the right polarity of hand. The healing begins to happen automatically. However, if the healer is a really energetically clean person, if the person is really wholesome, if the person is really good and spiritually elevated and things like that, definitely the healing rate is a bit faster. I should say that. So it is not that there will be a substantial difference, but there will be some difference because uh, just consider this case. How about a person like me? pushing a block of stone, and how about a bodybuilder pushing a block of stone? So he'll be able to push it very effectively than me because I'm not physically so sound. So depends like that. So when the person has the ability to move the energy, the healing is really profound. But in practicality, in reality, anybody can do a touch healing, and there is no problem. You can.
Okay. Can touch healings co-work or coexist with other forms of energy healings?
Definitely. You can do a Reiki healing. You can still do a touch therapy. There is no problem at all. You can take homeopathy. Many people do see homeopathy is a fantastic medicine system. Uh, has some very unique set of medicines, like 3,000 medicines to treat a serious array of problems. That is. So I've treated with homeopathy. So anything for that matter. So see, as I told you during some time back, we don't ask the client to stop any medications they are taking. Whatever it is, you ask the client to take. So similar to that, whatever other forms of healing they are taking, energy healings they are taking, let them continue. You do your healing sessions, and definitely the person will become fine. So it will be faster, in fact.
Okay. Vishwa, can you show how to do the self-healing steps quickly?
Okay, so
Possible.
that is given in your book, the book which Girija is going to share with you. But let me go. The right hand is going to be on the top of the head. Now the top of the head is, see, can you see this point? The place, the root of your nose. This is the point, not between your eyebrows. Don't make a mistake. It is this point. So from this point, you measure 8 finger widths upwards. You measure 8 finger widths upwards, and it's at the 8th finger. So you touch this point very gently with one finger or more fingers, very gently. Your left hand at the mid of the forehead. Many people wrongly do it between their eyebrows. It is not done between the eyebrows. It is done over here. This is where your third eye is. So this is the first step. So the self-healing book is really simple. It is like written in a very down to the earth layman's English. That is it. So right hand on top of the head, left hand on mid of the forehead. Do a lot of deep breathing. See, we say deep breathing, not a hard breathing. So what you do is you place your hands sufficiently. You sit down, you lie down, you do it in any position that is convenient to you. Then you do a lot of deep breathing. Wait there for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and you go to the next point. Then you touch the tip of the nose, do the same, do some deep breathing for some time. Then you go to the next point, which is at the pit of the throat. So each point like this is mentioned very clearly in your self-help manual. So there are like 8 points where you treat yourself. So with each point, there is a huge paragraph of benefits that are given. Like if you touch this particular particular sequence, what happens? Like it like improves your concentration. It reduces the number of thoughts which you produce. It helps you focus a lot. It helps you adapt to various situations. It helps reduce your blood pressure. It reduces your stress. So all those things are given in your self-help manual. So all you have to do is, it says step one. It's very simple. It's as simple as that. Step one, where is your right hand? Where is your left hand? What you should do? Go to the next step. It is as simple as that. So that is explained very clearly in your self-help book. So you can
Okay.
always come back to us for doubts. You can do that.
Okay. Can you just show the finger holding, please?
So there are various finger holds that are given. You have to do them in a particular order. So first you hold the ring finger. You completely hold. You hold the finger like you are just holding the. Imagine that you are holding the hand of an infant, a small child, a small kid. So you exert only that sort of a pressure. You very gently hold the finger and you do some deep breathing. Then you go to the next prescribed finger, do some deep breathing. Then for some time. So you hold each finger for a particular time. Maybe you allot your own time. I have a long time, so I have a lot of time. I can spend 5-7 minutes for each step. Do spend. It's good. The longer the better. But let us say I'm running short of time. Maybe I can spend 2 or 3 minutes per finger. Then you can do the finger holds, and then you can go for that. So we have given figures, explanatory figures in that 12-page booklet. You can go back. You can go through them. Then you can come to us for consultations or anything, or treatment sessions, and we can do that. Yeah.
Can I help myself using touch
You,
healing?
you can help yourself very much. I told you some examples, like even a very severe case of Parkinson's was like cured by like 80 to 85%. I swear to God, it was like 80 to 85%. Lot of shivering has reduced, and as a bonus for all her very strenuous self-healing exercises, she was a very bad diabetic. Like in empty, like fasting sugar was like 400. Now, fasting sugar came to 175 or 180 without any medication. That was the beauty. So what it does is it aligns all the mind, spirit, body into one this thing, and helps the body to recover very easily. So you can heal yourself very well. But sometimes you may require the intervention of a practitioner. So you may have to go to a practitioner and get yourself treated. That is it.
Okay. Can I heal depression?
Very well, very easily. You can heal depression. Very few sessions you'll see a fantastic difference. Very well. Yeah.
Okay. I want to learn how to cure periods pain, allergies, and eyesight problems.
See, as I told you, this is a sort of a proper therapy. See, if you go through your self-healing manual, we would have mentioned that this particular step is useful for this disease. So we would have given a paragraph saying this particular hold can cure this many number of diseases that we would have given. Now, when okay, repeat your question. Okay, so when you want to treat a particular ailment, what you do is you learn the therapy first. Then you diagnose the person or diagnose yourself or whatever it is. Then you do the particular sequences on your body so that energy healing can happen and your body can become better. That you can do. You have to learn the therapy first. That's important. Or you can go to a healer.
How soon after I start the healing process, I will see the difference?
This is a case-to-case basis. Sometimes the very first session we have seen exploding results. Sometimes after 7-8 sessions, the client will not be able to feel anything. But all of a sudden, in the 12th, 13th day, they'll be seeing a healing. That is a different thing. See, remember, when it is a factor of karma involved that the person is supposed to suffer, then we can't do any healing. That is always there. So we can reduce the pain, or we can do certain things which can bring down the suffering of that person. That can be done. So many times you can see the result during the first or second sessions, as much I can see. I'm not saying you can see a complete heal, but definitely you can see a difference in the first few sessions. That is, you can see.
Okay. Is there a difference in touch therapy for doing the treatment by ourselves versus someone else doing it for us?
It's almost the same. There is no difference. It is almost the same. But the only thing is you won't be able to touch certain points at the back of your body. They'll be a little bit difficult. Some people won't be able to take their hands back to some parts of the body. That is, so some people have stiff joints and all those things. So that is the only thing. Otherwise, you can if you know the therapy, you can treat yourself equally well like a healer heals. That is it. One point where you find it difficult is sometimes when you diagnose yourself, you may be prejudiced, you may be judgmental. Oh, this is my problem. You may assume that. So rather than assuming, if you're going on a proper diagnosis, you can very well diagnose yourself and you can get yourself healed. Or the best thing is you can go to a healer and get yourself diagnosed.
Can we do the diagnosis remotely?
We can try. We can look at the face of the client. We can look at the fingers. We can look at the toes of the person. We can say where the energy is blocked. We can try to do a diagnosis, but it won't be. See, it may not be. I'm not saying it won't be. It may not be as effective as seeing you in person, touching you, and searching for the pulses where the energy is really blocked. That we can. It's better. But yes, you can consult. You can consult. Like, say, for instance, say, Girija, you are there, you know touch healing already. So what you can do is they can come visit you, they can check the pulses, then you can ask me for recommendations. I can give you recommendations. You can do the therapy. That's quite possible. But yes, you can do the consultation over the this thing. So when you do the consultation online, we can give you recommendations only for what sort of self-healing you can do. So we'll give you prescribed self-healings that you can do this for in order to, or you do this for more time, you do this for less time. So we can give you prescribed, personalized recommendations to when we do an online consultation. But we can't treat you because you are not in person.
Okay. What are the most common disease treated with the touch healing and has great success rate?
Headaches, migraines, PCOD, like polycystic ovarian disorder, PCODs, like lung complaints, like breathing difficulty, asthma. Asthma has like gone like jiffy. Many clients. personally I've treated, and those who have learned from us have treated too. What else? Like 2-3 cases, we have been able to give a great relief to the person suffering from what is that? Rheumatic arthritis. Rheumatic arthritis, it has really worked very well. For sleep disorders, for emotional disorders, like the person is really stuck up due to this problem, doesn't matter. We have been able to pull them out, and especially when it is something to do with the mind, really works very well. See, there are a very wide range of diseases that can be cured, right? Even thyroid can be cured, ulcers can be cured, your digestive disorders can be cured, your protein allergies can be cured, your carbohydrate allergies can be cured. There are a variety of things that can be cured. That is it.
Okay. What about like a back pain like that?
See, in some
Would
cases
the
where, yeah, I understand. So in some cases, like when there is an ortho intervention required, then you may have to go for a therapy like Burma therapy, where there are specific stroking procedures, or you may have to go to an orthopedic surgeon, orthopedic consultant, so that they can treat that part of it. When it comes to bone-related disorders, say for instance, there is a slip disc. Touch therapy doesn't work very well. It is there. But when there is a pain in the spine because of the impeded energy flow, definitely it corrects. Say for example, there is a sciatic nerve problem. Definitely, sciatic nerve problem can be healed. There is no this thing. But when the condition has become so serious that you need a surgical intervention, then in that case, touch healing can be used only for the sake of reducing the pain. That is that.
Okay. I think that's all the questions we have. I just want to say my vote of thanks. First, thanks I want to give it to Malini and Avisha. They are the one told me about touch healing, and otherwise, I would have never learned about this wonderful healing. Um, Thank you, Avisha and Malini, ma'am. And next, thanks to Vishwa. When I met Vishwa, he made a statement. You will thank me when you're in 60, and when you do the touch healing every day, life will be heaven on earth. It is already. Thank you, Vishwa, because like I said, when we have when you don't have a lot of worries in your mind, when you have like any problems in your body, you can do whatever we want. There is no limitation on how many things you can do humanly possible in it everyday basis. You will have unlimited energy, and you don't get tired. You can keep on going. So that is for me heaven on earth. So thank you for giving me that wonderful life and teaching me the healing techniques and helping me to heal other people. Um, I was able to heal a friend last week because she came over and we did the pulse reading like Vishwa said, and he gave the proper flow structure, whatever the structure I needed to follow. We did the session over the 2 days, and she felt amazing difference. And it is possible to get treated, get cured. And it's really simple as a exercise, right? Walking, you have to do it on daily basis. The more you do, the more you get better. So we have to take care of those things on if we need to feel better.
Thank you, Girija. It's an honor to have a student like you. You learned it really well. You executed really well. I'm so impressed with the way you're doing. I'm not saying just because you are conducting this webinar. It's for real. You're doing it good because we have been consulting a lot of people. The way you diagnose pulse, the way you diagnose people, the way you do healings, it's all fantastic. So really, I'm very impressed, and the way you have learned, Girija. Good to you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, thanks Isha for taking time to do this webinar. And I also want to thank a few more people, Archana and Kripa and Shiva. They were helping me to organize all these things. And today we ran into some technical difficulties trying to do the Facebook Live. That's why we were like, could not start the meeting on time. I apologize for that. But Tamarika TV, they are helping in promoting and taking the message to everyone, as well as Greater Milwaukee Tamil Changam too. And so many people are like really want to learn and helping us to get this even going smoothly. Thanks everyone, and thanks Ishwa. And we will the one more thing I want to say. We are hoping to have Vishwa and Dr. Kanan Rajaram, like a lot of other people, come over and do in-person retreats and workshop in summer when all those things are better. That is the what we are planning to do in Get Back to Wellness. But until then, we will be organizing more webinars online. We are doing the same Vermont touch therapy in Tamil in the next month. So if you want anyone interested, please sign up. And if you want to know about any more healing techniques, please let us know. We will organize webinars in those things too. Thanks for joining. Bye.